responses or when we have these kind of setbacks, we don't know how to hold space for ourselves. You know, the kind of criticism, the kind of blame that we subject ourselves to, that takes us down even further. So one is to understand that setbacks are going to be a part of life. You are going to mess up. You will have this surge of emotions. You need to be friends with your emotions. You need to learn to understand and know how to work with them. And then at the end of the day, when I say you need to come home to yourself, see, when you messed up, you know, let's go back to our childhood. We did something wrong, homework nahi kiya and all. We wanted to go back to our parents or anybody and just wanted to hear from them. It's okay. It's okay. You know, you'll do it the next time. No problem. Okay. Something of that sort. Something reassuring that will tell you that okay, somebody's got my back and it's okay. The world's not going to collapse just because I made a mistake. That's the space that you need to come back to when it comes to your own self. That okay, something happened or I did something, but I have it in me to pick myself up. I'm going to take my time. I'm going to cry it out. Or yes, I'm going to kick myself. But once I'm done with all of that, I will have my back. I will pick myself up with the right words, with the right kind of mindset that is only going to help me to move forward from here and not keep me stuck. That's what it really comes down to.
I also want to add to what you said, like, a lot of us victimize ourselves a lot, right? If we have been in a terrible situation, or we'll put ourselves in a grave of self-pity. So I think that's where we need to learn that victimizing ourselves or putting ourselves in a state of self-pity is not the resolution. We need to come to our, as you said, a mode of self-compassion and come to the surface to deal with it. Either, yeah, that's what we say, right? पानी में फेंका है तो तैरना सीख जाओगे या डूब जाओगे. Either.
Right. And it will depend on the mindset that you have.
Absolutely. Yeah. So not dwelling into that situation perpetually, but trying to acknowledge it and then coming to your ground reality of who you are.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm just reminded of, when you talk about victimizing yourself, and of course we end up doing that. So in my first book, which talks about intention, I had written, and it's a daily conversation as well, that this question why, it's a very important question if asked the right way, and it can be the most ridiculous, most redundant questions if asked in the wrong way or with the wrong mindset. So if I am going on saying why me, that's me victimizing myself, and I'm not going to do anything with this kind of mindset. But if I ask the same question, why me, with a sense of curiosity, I will get something that's going to make sense to me, and then it's going to help me to do something about it. But if I just sit and wallow in self-pity, why me, for a really long time, then ho gaya kaam.
Yes, so it is like looking at the glass half empty, half full. It is your perspective, the lens from which you're looking at things. Okay, so we spoke about, you mentioned gut health, emotional well-being, and self-love. So you're a nutritionist. So are there any dietary do's and don'ts that one can follow to kind of get to a state of tons of love for oneself and emotional well-being, and anything else that you want to add?
So I always come to the science of wellness. Like 80% of our happy hormones are released in the gut. And when our gut is happy, a lot of emotions that are running from the gut all towards our brain will be happy. They'll be in sync. But the moment our gut is messed up, everything from the physical health to the emotional health to the mental health will take a downhill. So the first thing, when a lot of women come to me talking about their health, and my first question, I don't start right away on nutrition. I go back to the journey from how it started. What is the stressor? How long has been the stressors of your life? And then we come slowly to the fact that, gut needs to be healed, but along with that, you need to fix other elements of your life, which is mental wellness, your emotional wellness. So when you're talking about gut, or when you're talking about the nutrition, there's no off-the-shelf plan. Everybody is very unique, and what might suit you, Smita ma'am, might not work for me. What might work for Damini might not work for him. So one has to understand their personal choices and the happiness quotient related to it. If I force you into something which you might eat because you are forced to, but your heart and your gut is like, I don't feel happy eating that, then eventually it's not going to work on your physical aspect or the emotional aspect. But having said that, there are certain do's and don'ts definitely one should incorporate in their lifestyle. And I would say that starting your morning with amazing fresh warm water. Don't add anything if you're not aware whether to add lime or to add jeera. Don't add anything. Just fresh warm water which cleanses your gut. And once the gut is cleansed, your body will start oozing with energy. Start your breakfast with the right portion of protein, carbohydrates, a lot of fiber, and add colors to your plate because you want your life also to be colorful. I always say, and I always take examples from people's life, like when your life is dull and you're eating dull as well, where is the spice? Where is the color? So at least if one aspect of life is going slow and dull, why don't you add zest to the other element of your life, and you'll start seeing that things come to alignment softly and slowly. You can't be in a rush, and it is a process. One has to align with their own self, one has to align with their mindset in that situation to see what is working. So nutrition is very, very unique, and I think you have to understand the process softly.
So you can't have the same shoe size fitting everyone, right? Alright. Okay, so the artist here. So you are a creative person and creating one artistic piece after the other. But how do you incorporate self-love into that process, into your daily life, the creative self-love process?
Very interesting. I have to think about it also. I think
that's why I was going a bit slow.
Yeah. I'm just thinking that it's eating the right food, keeping your body healthy through strength training, keeping your mind healthy through reading, listening to good music, keeping gratitude in your heart always by respecting all the people who have taught you and all the people who've taught them, and then there's like this constant lineage which in the Indian arts teach you, spiritually, you feel inclined towards, I wouldn't say meditation and what, like you don't necessarily have to sit down and take that time of silence, but meditation in the sense that your entire being is in one when you are practicing any form of art. So I think that's how the self-love again is built, I would say, because I don't think it's 100%. I can't say that I love myself entirely or that, but definitely I like myself more than I did some years ago. And I was, and then when you look back at a certain point in your life, you've seen the downs and you've seen the ups, and you sort of know where you went wrong, what you need to course correct in. And that again reflects in your art, because all that pain also adds to the self-love, because the pain makes you who you are today. And if it adds to your, if you read about poetry and great poets, they'll talk about if you've never felt pain, how are you going to write about it. Also, I think in dance particularly, in my own experience, and again, everybody has a unique experience, I think you have a certain distance from emotion also, especially when you're performing before a lot of people. You are immersed in it, but you are distant from it, and that is the state if you achieve, you are actually, because imagine if you are like depicting tears or something really tragic has happened, which many times you're depicting a tragedy on stage. Now imagine if you get so swept away that you actually start howling on stage and you can't stop, and your music is going to go somewhere and you're going to be elsewhere. And so that distance, you have to feel that empathy, you have to feel what that character in a situation will feel, and yet you have to engage and disengage. So it's a very interesting process of again getting to know yourself. Like how far can you keep that thing and how close can you bring it without falling apart?
So yeah, it is a process, like everything in life is. It takes time, and then sometimes you don't understand, why you're going through certain things in life. Like I always believe that you live life forwards, but you understand it backwards. Only when you look back you realize whatever happened with you, why did it happen? Okay. So this is a question that is actually meant for all four of us. So since I am the one asking it, I take the liberty of answering it first. So what is your go-to self-love activity? For me, it is reading. And now I pass it on to you.
Well, I'm actually privileged to be able to say that I have a lot of go-to activities. So for me, it's going to the gym. I love exercising because I'm coming from a place where I could not do anything with my body. I could just not even get up from the bed. So every day to be able to move my body, for me that's a blessing. So that's my biggest act of self-love. I've recently discovered karaoke and my lost voice. So that has become the second self-love activity. And dancing will always be my first love. I could not pursue it professionally, but you can't take the dance, you can't take the art out of out of yourself, out of your soul. So it's there, and in whatever little ways I can do that. So these are my like 3 go-to activities. There is a lot more, but top 3.
My favorites would be learning. I think when I'm learning, I find it very invigorating and it's my happiest place. Learning something good, whatever that might be. Favorite was obviously learning from my guru, and I mean, there's nothing, I don't think any experience in life can beat that. But learning anything, like whether it's a new workout, whether it's about something, So learning one. Second thing I love doing, and I think that makes me feel happy all the time, is when I watch performances. Like when I, as a rustic, not necessarily as a performer, when I watch performances, if it's a great musical performance, if it's a great dance performance, someone talking really well, someone taking their art into that where the lights are on and there's magic, that is like for me a great activity that I do for myself that I love doing.
For me, being in nature is something which I think it teaches us a lot, and we can learn a lot from nature. I'll give you an example. Today, through the window of our kitchen, 2 monkeys came in early morning, 6 o'clock, and they were very smart to open the window. They came in, they opened the box where the rotis and everything. Of course, there were no rotis 6 in the morning. So I shooed them away, but I popped in 2 bananas to them. I said, okay, I am sure you're hungry, so you eat. But the survival instinct, which is very primal to humans and everybody else, is very evident in nature. So whenever I go in nature, whenever I go for walks, that just refreshes my soul and I get to learn. And the other thing is not hindering myself when it comes to wellness or nutrition, because there's so much in Ayurveda, there is so much in modern science. People shun one and they believe that the other one is the way to go. But I always keep my mind and my heart open when it comes to learning, because you never know what you combine together and what comes out of it. So I think learning, keeping my mind open, and nature is something which is my go-to thing.
Alright, so interesting set of things. So can we open the house for audience questions if there is anyone who would like to grill our celebrity today? More than welcome.
What is that your cover book? What is that number 1 you have put? And the second thing is, in your whole discussion I am unable to understand. Coming back home, from where you are coming back home?
That's not number 1, that's the door half open. From far it looks like 1 to you maybe.
Okay, no problem. Second question.
Where are you coming from? Well, I don't know where are you coming from, but this door certainly talks about where you're going to go, based on the choices that you're going to make from this point onwards. That's what the book is about.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else?
One question. You rightly said time to come home means that you start loving yourself. And what happens that if you start hating yourself? Is it time to leave the home?
That's the time to pick up the book and read it again.
Okay. Right, thank you.
Alright, is there anyone else?
I like these questions. We have more.
No, I will be speaking on the book.
So, if you start reading the book, I think Damini have mentioned one aspect where you talk about, how a baby is born and how uninhibited kids are. Like there's no fear of how they look, how they behave. How does one incorporate that when they're adults? Like, why do we shift so much from, of course, there's social conditioning, but how do you come back to your happy child mode?
Well, there's a lot actually, and there are tips and techniques and points, but the point is that it's the journey that you have to undertake. Discovering that child-free, the carefree side of you, which gets lost in the day-to-day hustle and of course in the quest to achieve these milestones, be the perfect daughter, perfect son, brother, XYZ, employee. I mean, that's what the world is telling you to do, right? That you have to fit into a mold. But look at kids, they don't want to be fit into, anything, right? And it's all because of socialization that we end up becoming the way we are. But the essence for each one of us is ultimately, if we choose to, is to take that journey where we can shed these layers of conditioning, shed these layers of everything that we've been told, right? And we start doing things which feel more aligned to ourselves. We become more, intentional that, okay, this is where I was, this is what has been told to me, taught to me, but how do I feel about all of these things? And from this point onwards, if I were to take charge of my life, I want to become that carefree self, right? First I have to set that vision that this is where I want to be, who I want to be, and then it's about taking those steps, taking those layers off, and then choosing, okay, this is the new layer that I want to become. So if for my entire life I've been told, I'll talk about myself. I was always told, and I believed for the longest time that I'm good for nothing. Absolutely nothing. Simply, and I had a lot of talents, I still do. A lot of them I could not nurture because I came from this mindset. And that's only because I was never good at studies. I did not have the aptitude for science, for maths, those, the usual subjects. And everybody was so hopeful that, I'll carry the family tradition of becoming a doctor or something. Nah, I didn't. And it was such a struggle for me because I did not understand those subjects. I did not enjoy them, but the way the society is, you're an outcast if you can't do all of these things. Like, who does humanities? And things are different now. But back then, one wouldn't even dream of taking this up. You were like, thrown into the last class, and it had those bunch of kids who were termed as good for nothing. That's what our class was made up of. And today, if you look at this bunch, the so-called not good enough guys, oh, we're doing really well for ourselves. Really, really well. We still don't have the marks. I don't have the mark sheet. But I have myself. I have so many other things. And that's the journey that I've taken. That's the journey that unfortunately, not unfortunately, but that's unfortunately the story that so many of us live with. Day in and out, that the way you look is a problem, the way you study is a problem, the kind of course that you want to do is a problem, the kind of people you want to get married to is a problem. Everything is a problem. Everybody just wants to, fit in. But that's actually not what we're supposed to be. We're just supposed to find our own selves if we decide to take that journey. So it's that mindset that ultimately we need to break, if of course that's the calling that we feel is for us.
Good for nothing reminds me of Shah Rukh Khan because उन्होंने एक बार कहा था जो कुछ नहीं करते वो कमाल करते हैं.
सही कहा.
Yes.
And see, you have to come up with your own definition of kamal. Exactly, the point is that.
So, Damini, in my childhood, when I started learning my art, so my relative called me. They used to tell my parents that आपका बच्चा मदारी बन गया. I'm a magician by profession. So I am now highly paid magician of India. वो मदारी. तो बड़ा है तो बाटा, छोटा है तो मोची, बड़ा है तो टाटा, छोटा है तो लोहार, बड़ा है तो 5-स्टार होटल, छोटा है तो ढाबा. ये आपके ऊपर है कि आपको कहाँ तक जाना है. तो मेरे जो मेंटर हैं मेरे बीच में डॉक्टर नीता जैन एंड डॉक्टर शोगो एंड विनीत जैन जी, तो ऐसे लोग मुझे मिले और मैं मदारी से यूजनेस बन गया. आई एम लिविंग कनाडा फॉर 45 days फॉर माय शो. It's a Guinness Book of World Record. So from 55 shows in China, it's a Guinness World Record. No magician has performed till now. So मदारी. So कहते यार ये मदारी बन गया. So मदारी आपके बीच में है. So I'm with you.
there are two things that I want to add. First of all, of course, I come from academia and I've been teaching for the last 3 decades. I can say with certainty that those students who do very well in class, the 95 and the 98 percenters, don't usually do well in life. Because I think somewhere while they're trying to be very good students, they forget to pick up the essential life skills which are so important when you have to lead your life. And second one is about the child. You said that, so this is something my son sent me. He says your second child is your inner child you never got to be. They are funny, free-spirited, strong and full of life. They are biggest cheerleaders. And as much as they drive you crazy, they make you smile on your darkest days. So there are ways of coming back to your childhood. So I guess this is it. I mean, are there any questions?
Do we have any questions? Any more questions?
You mentioned about gratitude. Ultimately, you pay gratitude to your father, parents, and gurus and all. Do you all believe in religion? There is a higher force also. Spirituality you mentioned. So, do you all believe in religion? This higher force.
Sir, religion and spirituality for me are two different things. So yes, I do believe in the higher force. I believe that we're all connected by that higher force. That higher force is within us right now. So I think maybe in a way that's what we have to come home to. So yes, but religion is a way of, for many, of reaching that higher force. So that's also important for those who use that as a medium. It can be different things for different people. For me, it is through the learning that I've got, or it is through the practice of what I have been, gifted to do or given to do, because I don't think it's actually all mine. So that is what I think connects for me with spirituality. But for other people, it could be religion. It could be doing a part every day. It could be doing a havan. It could be going to the masjid. It could be whatever your definition of religion is. So it's very important to look at religion in a way that keeps society organized for that spirituality.
And I think the bottom line is you can get home any ways that you want to.
Absolutely.
So yeah, time to come home.
Thank you everyone, and the order will be available to sign the books.
Yes, sir.
You also mentioned that you have to look for yourself or you have to identify yourself. You feel that your book helps in that, and if yes, in what way?
Oh, well, that is the basic purpose of the book, to help you to look at yourself from a different lens, maybe help you to identify first what is the lens that you want to look at yourself with. In fact, both my books do that. And second is that once you have that, you start moving in that direction that, okay, this is where I am, this is where I would like to be. It nudges you in small ways, to change your mindset, to look at things differently, try out those, write certain things down, and your mind is going to pick up on those things. So like I said, that it's not a one day, there's no, how do I say, there's no formula for it. It's a journey that you have to take, and nobody ever reaches a stage actually where they feel that, okay, now I've arrived and I know everything that I need to know in this lifetime and I am my best version and that's it. No, you will have phases, you will feel all of that, but you will also fall down and you also will learn how to get yourself back up again. So it's going to be an ongoing process. You have to keep coming back to yourself every day. Like you come home every day.
Right.
So that's just how life is going to be.
Good. You have to
It's
read.
a constant working process.
Absolutely.
You have to keep doing, you're always progressing. I think the day you feel you have it all, probably it's time for you to go.
You have to.
Yeah, and it's actually going to be your downfall if you start operating from that mindset.
So it's not one time reading. You have to read it again and again.
Yes, like I said, I'm reading it for the second time.
Right. Good. Thank you.
And it's always like, pata ghar wale bhi puchte hain, ghar aa gaye? At the end of the day.
Yes. Right.
I stay away from my parents, but if I am speaking with them, let's say 7:30, 8 in the evening, sabse pehla sawal yahi hota hai, ghar aa gaye?
So if you.
Of course, we have to come back home.
So if you are carrying this book, they will know that ghar aa gaya.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Thank you.
अगर तुमको घर जाना है तो एड्रेस लिख लीजिएगा.
हाँ, exactly right.
वो नहीं बता पाएगी.
Thank you.
Okay, great. So if we don't have any questions, we have Dr. Divakar here who would just like to take 10 minutes. If there's some things that he would like to share with us.
Well, can we do a little photo to them forward too?
Yeah.
For the first.
Okay, after this you can contact Damini for the book signing, and also if you're hungry there's food to eat.
Mr. Dr. Bhimata was here. You see, normally I go to the book releases where I know the author. Here it is a unique occasion when I know the author from her book. Yesterday night I got the book, and that introduced me to Damini. And it is a very unique thing because you see, when as a writer you are known by your work, I think she has the match of that. Because you see, the writer, we are not known to the people who are reading our books, but our work speaks about. So what Damini is saying, I start with one of my share, my mentor Kafi Azmi, I start my talk on that. किसी को गीत देता हूँ, किसी को साज देता हूँ, किसी को गीत देता हूँ, किसी को साज देता हूँ, बहुत खुश होता हूँ तो हर राज देता हूँ. नहीं कुछ बचता है जब लुटाने के लिए, नहीं कुछ बचता है जब लुटाने के लिए, तेरी खोई हुई आवाज को आवाज देता. अब एक शेर है जो मेरे को लगा कि दामिनी पे फिट बैठता है इस किताब के बाद. अभी तो दामिनी की लंबी उड़ान बाकी है, अभी तो दामिनी की लंबी उड़ान बाकी है, अभी दामिनी का इम्तिहान बाकी है. अभी अभी दामिनी ने लाना है समंदर को, अभी तो पूरा आसमान बाकी है. And what she is told about this book, she is talking about love, self-love. I have certain observations. The time is only 10 minutes, but I jotted down certain things from here. You see, I am a botany graduate. I have mixed qualifications, so many. In a botany, you have xerophytic plants, where the leaves are transformed into thorns because the water scarcity is there. How this author, in the self-love, has conceptualized, how she articulated, how she innovated that term of xerophytic plant. If you go to her book, it's really surprising and it really touched me. That's why I want to read that. With the permission of author. You see, in this book, I found certain things which are very unique in nature. I also wrote on love in one of my health books. I talked about three-love formula, but here in this book it is education to me also. Because certain virgin aspects of self-love are there, which I never came across. Because Damini is a writer with a difference. Certain things what I came to know about her, she is not disclosing. But I am a face reader and I can make out she is not disclosing her full self. Her first love was with her first book. She is not confessing there. She is not liking, she is not saying that I love my first book, but I am saying with certainty, let her ask from the inner corner of her heart, her love is for her first book.